It's Good News with Gary, featuring University of Akron President Gary L. Miller.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. For this episode, we're going to do something a little different. I thought you might like to hear from someone with a different perspective on all the good news happening here at the University of Akron. So I have with me today J.P. Garchar, president of UA's Undergraduate Student Government. J.P. is going to share his story about UA and give us some thoughts on the fun places to visit around campus and maybe offer some tips on how to make the most of your UA experience. JP, how you doing? You been playing any golf?
I have been recently, with the weather so nice out, especially not over Labor Day weekend, unfortunately, but, the weekend before that was a really good time to get out and, hit some balls on the golf course.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So I know you're from Akron. I think, in fact, you're from Highland Square, which is, only a couple miles from campus. So why'd you stay in town to go to college?
Well, there were definitely a couple reasons for me. The one being financially. My family we're not super well off, and so for me, financial consideration was something that I really took into choice whenever I was looking at colleges. UA was pretty close in the area, and they gave me the most bang for my buck, if you will. And so, additionally, I wanted to study engineering, and so UA has a very excellent engineering program that I was admitted to as an aerospace systems engineering major when I got here. And so for me, it was a home away from home. I decided that I wanted to live on campus. Even though I lived only 2 miles away from here, it was a good way for me to find new people, find new student organizations to join in, and it really kind of kickstarted my journey here on campus.
So I know a lot of students change their major after the first year. So what went into the thinking about that decision you made?
Yeah, absolutely. There were a couple of things. So like I mentioned, I started as aerospace systems engineering. I still have a passion for aviation. It's something I try to pursue in my on the side when I have time, but there were a couple of things. For one, it was the classes that I was taking. I just wasn't loving them at the point when I was a sophomore when I decided to change. And additionally, COVID had a really strong impact. I am a very face-to-face person. I love seeing a teacher draw out the math problem on the board. It gives me an opportunity to ask questions if I have any, and having an online, totally virtual classroom just really was difficult for me. And so I had to make a decision on whether or not I had to retake a class or kind of pivot into something that I could possibly see myself in a career in. And so that's when I ended up in the College of Business for international business with a specificity in foreign language and a minor in supply chain management.
So you like what you're doing now?
I do, very much so, much so. It's got me some really cool opportunities.
So I know you're busy because I've seen your schedule, but I see you're interested in esports.
Yeah,
I'm fascinated by it too. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I've been playing video games for a while, which is what esports is just competitive video gaming. It's an industry that's really growing. Actually, within our College of Business, we offer an esports business certificate because that industry is such a large and growing field. So, of course, you see, industries all across the country are really starting to get into this field, whether it's sponsorships, whether it's companies sponsoring teams, or whether it's teams actually, growing out and becoming something of an industry of sorts. And so Akron's got a really facilitated and brought up esports program here, as you probably are aware.
We're pretty good.
We are pretty good. This week we played Valorant and Rocket League. We played BGSU and Ball State last night in Rocket League, and we beat them both. It was a swipe, to say the least. Wow. It was not good for their teams, but really good for ours. So it's something that I've always been interested in, but really have never, taken an opportunity to see where it could lead me. And when I saw that the business certificate was something that's available for all students to do, I was like, why not? It's something that I can complete in 2 semesters, and I've really started to get more involved in the esports side of it. So next Tuesday, I'm actually casting for their next varsity Valorant game. Which is really unique because my roommate is on the varsity esports team for that. So it's really interesting. It's a really growing field.
So I know a lot of people may not know that as student government president, you and I meet regularly and talk about university issues. So it's a pretty important role for us. So how did you get involved in student government?
Yeah, absolutely. So RooFest was the first way that I got involved. So, of course, that New Roo weekend that everybody loves to promote, I was a part of. So I came to RooFest, got to know the people there who were there at the time in undergraduate student government, and really found my path. I applied for a position, didn't get it, but kind of found my way in as a glorified IT person, simply put, which is ironic now. From there, I really kind of evolved. I became a chief of staff, so I helped a lot with administrating the branch and kind of helping the 2 leaders at the time. Our vice president during that time had to take a leave of absence from the university, and so I stepped into their role and really helped the president kind of finish out the year. From there, then I ran again as vice president for the last academic year. So that's how I served. And then I just got elected in April to serve as the student body president for this year. So it's been kind of an ever-evolving and changing path for me in undergraduate student government. But I really got involved my freshman year, and it's just kind of been the ladder since then.
Yeah, really interested in your platform this year's
Yeah.
Zips Heartbeat.
Yeah, Zips Heartbeat. So we started this platform actually during COVID. So right as the university kind of shifted to an online virtual mode, this platform was really brought up as a way to fight the issues that have been brought up because of COVID, specifically mental health and wellness, as well as food and housing insecurity. A lot of the priorities are still those. So our biggest piece now is mental health and wellness, supporting student success here on campus, and then finally strengthening the Zip community that we have here. So obviously COVID has had a vast impact on feeling like a Zip, being a part of those sports games, being a part of the environment where you're really proud to be from Akron and a Zip as a whole. And so for us, that's probably our biggest priority this year, as well as prioritizing a lot of the mental health issues on campus. COVID has really exacerbated those, whether you have anxiety or depression. Feeling isolated is just something that has really come natural with this pandemic. And so we're really trying to fight those stigmas.
It's very important work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think about our vision to be more active downtown, to move a lot of our arts programs there and so forth. What do you like about Akron downtown?
I guess the better question is, what don't I like, right? There's just a lot there to offer. I think for me, the biggest thing is food. There's a ton of great food places down there, whether you're at Luigi's, right by that side of downtown, or by Diamond Deli, which is one of my favorite places to go for lunch. I mean, you really can't go wrong. There's also really good options for entertainment, whether it's a tribute band at Lock 3, Akron has been having those over the summer recently.
Yeah.
They had Pizza Fest over Labor Day weekend. I got to see a Led Zeppelin tribute band. They were pretty good. I will say they were pretty good. But then also going to see things like the Rubber Ducks and just events like that just kind of happen sporadically throughout the year, or even going down and ice skating in Lock 3 whenever that comes around in the winter. Super good times.
So what campus activities do you like when you're not downtown?
Yeah, so for me specifically, like you mentioned about the esports facilities, I tend to use those pretty often. I'm just now recently trying out for the Counter-Strike club team, which is one of the video games that we play there. So I use those facilities quite often. Oftentimes, I just like to kind of study around campus. It's a really pretty campus once you really get to know it, and there are some really niche spots that you can go and find and study in that not a lot of people know about.
So I know as student government president, you know a lot about student organizations. You have a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about those? Are there good ones?
Oh, yeah, there
ones?
are some really good ones out there. One of the ones that I really like to highlight is ZPN, and the way that they host events is just killer. I mean, seriously, it's lines out the door for their events all the time. They have really great opportunities to go outside of Akron to see events. So I know last year, my girlfriend and I went to go see a Monsters game, which I'd never been to a professional hockey game. So that was really interesting and exciting to see. So they really find a way to kind of engage students here on campus, and they're one of the best student orgs at it.
I really appreciate you coming in. Do you have any questions for me? I can't help you with your grade.
Well, I wouldn't plan on that, but I do have one question for you. So obviously we've discussed it a little bit, but what are you most excited about for this academic year?
I think, first of all, I'm excited to be back in more of a normal mode with kids all over campus and lots of events going on. What excites me, though, is seeing the potential of all of these students and doing whatever I can to make that come true, people like you and the thousands of others that are here. I'm very excited about what we're doing in the city of Akron. Very excited about this faculty and staff, and just really glad to be here.
Yeah.
I'm glad and very happy for your leadership.
Well, thank you.
So, JP, thanks for joining us. It's been great to hear from you about the University of Akron, and I hope you'll come back soon and give us your perspective again.
Absolutely.
So please, the rest of you, please join me soon for another Good News with Gary podcast. And go Zips!